2, 1. Hi guys, I'm back. I am going to be doing another fill of the base gel on my non-dominant hand, left hand today. So I thought I would record this again for you guys. So you can kind of see my little desk layout here. You guys are right there, the microphone. Got my little wrist rest here. Got a little hand paper towel that I'm going to use in a second, but I've got another paper towel here that I have wetted with my rubbing alcohol. I just got a screenshot. I've got my gelish pH bond dehydrator. I have my little gel brush that I'm going to need to kind of start cleaning off and getting it. It's not as crispy as it usually is. Usually it's quite crispy, but getting it prepped and ready to use. And then I've got my little cutula and spatula for cleaning up my little messes. And this is the rubber base gel I use, Kodi Professional's rubber base gel. Comes out of the Ukraine. You can see all kinds of Ukrainian gibberish here that I can't read. I'm almost out, so I do have a backup bottle here if I need to use it. Of course, I want to make sure I'm using as much as I can out of there before I do that. But so on another video I shot, I have taken the nail polish, this polish, off of this hand. Took that all down, took a lot of the base gel, previous base gel off to really kind of get the layers as thin as I'm willing to do. I've shortened up my nails, kind of cleaned up the cuticles. I spent some time off camera gently working my cuticles back, and then I took my cuticle bit on my nail drill and kind of cleaned everything up. So, you know, the shape isn't as wonderful as I'd like it, but you know, it is what it is. And this was the nail on the previous video. I think I told you guys, I feel like I have a crack forming here. You can probably see it forming right there. So what I did is I took my cuticle drill bit and I drilled down through the base gel that's still on here to get down to that. If there was any kind of damage to the gel structure, I wanted to get rid of that, and then I could fill that in with a new layer of base gel. So we're going to try that. You know, that's the stress point of the nail, of course, where it comes off the nail bed and hits, you know, the air. So I'm going to see if I can correct that and keep it from cracking further. So you can kind of see it right there. Hoping that'll work. Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking at my shape, trying to decide if there's anything else I want to do. I'm going to just real quick kind of work this shape on this nail a little bit. But I am getting ready to do my fill. So I've washed my hands already, but as you can see, you know, I've touched my nail with my fingers. And, you know, anytime you transfer any kind of oils from your skin on your nails, that causes a problem, right? You know, nothing will adhere. So a lot of people just start off with a nail dehydrator. What I'm going to do is go ahead and really go over my nails with, today I'm going to use rubbing alcohol. Sometimes I do use acetone, but I'm going to just really dehydrate them with rubbing alcohol, because this will help if there's any leftover moisture on my nails from washing my hands. This is going to go ahead and help that water to evaporate off and away from my nails. Last thing I want to do is trap moisture onto my nail bed under the base gel and create some sort of situation where I might end up growing fungus. So I'm really dehydrating these best I can. You know, no big deal. I mean, I kind of going a little overboard there, but I did just wash my hands. So I'm trying to be careful. I'm going to keep this nearby in case I need it. But while that dries, I will go right into using the pH bond next, once this kind of dries. This has really been a nice product. It's by Gelish, and I really do find that it helps prep that nail for, you know, to bond onto the next layer of base gel. So definitely paying attention to the natural nail, as well as going ahead and kind of just dehydrating the old, what's left of the old layer of base gel that I had on. So this just looks very strange, but got some layers on there, definitely. Okay, so just making sure. I'd actually do go and dehydrate under the nail too, just to make sure that I'm not going to have a problem with any moisture. Like I said, I really have no interest in creating a environment for nail fungus. So I'm gonna get my Kodi out and ready to roll. I've kind of cleaned off my gel brush. This is just a cheap brush. It's a set I got from Wish. So they are different types of brushes. They're what's called a nail art brush for gel. You know, you can see the different bristle lengths. I kind of chosen this one to be pretty good. I might try that one next, but these are pretty good. These gets to be a little small for, and that's a little bit long for applying. Oh, you could certainly use it, but this one's been pretty good. I can see, you know, I'm losing some bristle ends, but it's been fine for doing what I'm doing and applying this base gel. So I do kind of break up. It dries out and gets real crusty and crunchy, so like I said, I'm almost out, so I'm going to kind of be gentle, get a little bit on here. It's a clear gel. I don't know if you guys can see that. You go right into working it, and now it's important to not go in straight down on your nail, but to kind of try to stay very parallel to the surface of your nail. And so I'm putting this dab of gel on here, and I'm just using the brush to work it, gently push it up towards the cuticle, while I am kind of keeping my nail bed kind of pointing towards the ground, because, you know, the nice thing about gel, this type of gel, is it's very liquidy and it can be very easily manipulated using gravity. So and it will run and it will gather. So I'm just gently drawing it down to away from my, you want to really stay away from your cuticle. You know, you want to get up there in the cuticle, but you don't want to get it on the cuticle. So it's key. And the reason why you need to keep the brush sort of parallel to the surface of the nail is to try your best to avoid creating a bubbling, getting air bubbles in there. So I have a very, very thin layer on there, and so you guys, I forgot to tell you, but my nail lamp is just off to my left. I am going to do a short flash 10-second cure to, just like I said, do a flash cure, hold this in place, and then see how that looks. So that keeps it from running. I can kind of look at it without it sliding down the nail. I definitely have a little unevenness here, but you know, I'm not done. I've just put one layer on. So I'm going to go ahead and cure this for another, maybe 20 seconds in the lamp. I've got quite a powerful lamp, which is why I've got, you know, the gloves on my hand that I am doing the fill on, because, you know, they are UV lamps and you do have to be careful about getting skin cancer. So, okay, that's a pretty good cure. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit more. Not a lot, but a small amount of gel onto my brush. I can kind of see it. I kind of have a way, there we go. I like it on the one side of my brush, so I'm going to go ahead now. It's on the top part. I'm going to flip it, and then just, again, staying really, really parallel. I can kind of push it gently towards the cuticle and then draw it down. Put a bead there and then kind of push it up and then draw it down and away. And I have to be very careful that I'm looking at the edges of my nails, making sure they look okay. So again, I have to be careful and use gravity to my advantage and let gravity draw that gel down away from my cuticle. I'm going to go ahead and flash cure this. doing at least 10 seconds to flash cure it so that I can kind of evaluate where I'm at. It's been 10 seconds. It looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased, so I'm going to go ahead and set it in there a little longer. Finish off at least 30 seconds to cure it. It's important to make sure you cure each layer for at least 30 seconds. I have quite a powerful lamp. It's like a 90-watt lamp, so if you have a much less powerful lamp, you may need to go 45 seconds. And you know, it's really important to keep your layers thin as you do them, otherwise you can get some, especially with a less powerful lamp, you can get areas that don't cure. So I really like this. I feel it looks really quite good. I like the thickness, so I'm going to go ahead. I feel a little concerned that I touched my finger, so I'm going to quick dehydrate this one again in case I got any oils on it from my other fingers. So that will dry very quickly while I gather up some gel. Not too much, just a small amount on there. Again, I'm going to try to go in here and be very parallel. I'm going to drop it onto here and then push it forward with my brush. So I really like this product. I've been using it for quite a while now. I'm going to go ahead and tip my nail down to try to keep this from going too close to my cuticle. So I'm going to take the excess off with the brush, and I'm going to flash cure this 10 seconds just to kind of get it to stop squirming around on my finger. I really have a lot of respect for the nail artists who work in acrylics, because you have to work very, very, very fast with acrylic, and you have to be really skilled because it, you know, it immediately starts to set. And I have to say, with this liquid gel, as long as you're not sitting there under UV light, I'm sorry if my head's getting in here, as long as you're not getting exposed, the nail and the gel exposed to UV light, you can kind of manipulate this for as long as you need to, because it doesn't cure without the lamp. So it is a bonus of using this type of gel. I'm going to go ahead and flash cure that. These are very, very thin layers I'm using, so I'm going to probably need more than two layers on my index finger. I am very prone to breaking my index fingernail and the middle fingernail, so cured that for 20 seconds. I just want to take a look at it. Looks really nice. I don't feel that it's run off and gotten stuck on my skin, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and finish curing that a little bit longer before I move on to the next. So the nice thing is if you get an overabundance of this product on your brush, it just comes off with rubbing alcohol. So, you know, if you get something on there, you just clean this off by, like I said, I use a paper toweling and the rubbing alcohol. You can, obviously it evaporates, you can kind of keep it. So I don't like dirty brushes, so I do tend to kind of clean that up. Just kind of letting it air out a little bit. You can kind of dry it off. Okay, so I have a much cleaner brush now. I am going to put another layer on, like I said, on my index finger. I am very hard on my index finger, being a bit of a farm person. So I've got a glob on the top. I'm going to roll it around, kind of drop it on here, and then I'm going to kind of gently push it towards the cuticle, and then drawing it away. You certainly do not want a glob near your cuticle. You can deposit the extra back in the bottle, and I'm also paying attention at looking at the curve and the stress point. So this is another light layer. I'm going to flash cure this, and then I think for my final I'm going to work on giving myself an apex, thickening it a little bit over the stress point. And like I said, with this being so liquid and it doesn't set up without the light, the UV lamp, and it's real susceptible to gravity, you can use that to your advantage to fill in and kind of make that really nice shape over the stress point of the nail. So, all right. It's a little flat. What I'd like to do is make it a little bit more of a curve. So what I'm going to do is pick up my gel. Not a lot. I just need a bubble. It's pretty good. Kind of let it come down to the... I'm going to drop it over that stress point of the nail. And I'm going to kind of work it from side to side. And then I flip my nail over and I see for somehow I got a fuzz in here, so that's annoying. Happens all the time. So you guys aren't going to be able to see it real well, but if I have my nail down, it's drawing all the gel to the center of the nail to create that apex, and I can manipulate it by how I move my hand to kind of spread it around. That's what's so cool about this stuff, is you can, if I need to go in there and move it, I can move it with my brush, but I can just move it, let it, you know, it's just following gravity. And I have a really pretty shape now that I'm pretty pleased with. Just kind of moving it back and forth to make sure it's where I want it. I'm going to flash cure it now. It's really important to get in there and flash cure this upside down, which is a bit of a pain, but you know, you put a 10-second cure on it, it's held in spot. So I actually, you guys can't see this, I actually turn my lamp on with my right hand and put my left hand in upside down in the lamp, turn the lamp on so that it's starting to get light from the side, and then I'll flip my finger over. So the one thing I don't like is it looks like I got a little, I'm going to kind of clean my skin off. It did run a little bit, but I like the shape now. I've got a better shape. So I'm just going to check the cuticle and make sure I'm not getting a lot of product in there. And then I got to finish curing this. So I'm quite pleased with how that looks. I just want to make sure I don't have anything on my skin. Okay, I'm gonna finish curing this. Probably another 20 seconds under the lamp. And then moving on to the next finger. And I probably should go ahead and re-dehydrate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this finger is cleaned off. Now these are sticky. I have to be careful I don't, you know, they have that inhibition layer on them. So I have to be careful I don't bump them into something and get fuzziness in them or something like that. And there's no checking to make sure my brush didn't pick up any more lint. So again, I have the bubble on top. I'm going to flip it over, deposit it on the nail here. I need actually a little bit more. I realize, ooh, that's kind of a lot. So depositing it on the nail, away from the nail bed, away from the cuticle, and then I'm just gently working it towards the cuticle and then pulling it back. Again, I can use gravity to help me work this product away from my cuticle, taking excess off and putting it back in. It's really important to keep the product away from your cuticles. Excuse me. You know, you don't want to develop an allergy. So I've got a very thin layer on there. I like how it looks. I'm going to flash cure that. Excuse me, people. Probably flash cure this one for at least 20 seconds. Maybe I'll do 15 and then take a look at it real quick. Looks really good. Cuticles are good. I'm going to go ahead and finish curing that. Okay, so just starting again, got to do another layer on that middle finger. Now remember that middle finger is where I had that crack that was forming. So with this first layer of base gel, I've already filled in right along here where I drilled down and took out all the damaged base gel that had been cracked. And now it's being filled in with what will become much more structurally sound product. So taking a look at it, just looking at it face on, and of course keeping my nails pointed down because of gravity and this liquid moving, making sure I'm getting the edges appropriately but not getting it jammed up against my cuticle. If you do, you just take this and it doesn't, there's just nothing there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cure that, and then the next one I got to work on that bubble to make that stress point a little bit more solid. As you can see, that was the finger where I do get a stress crack that forms, so I need to make sure that I really work on getting that stress point structurally sound and a little thicker, I guess I would say. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was 30 seconds. So I really need to work on providing a little more stability and structure on that part of the nail. So kind of see what I got going on here. For I always think I'm running out of product, and there's actually a lot in the bottle, but you know, you don't want to get in the middle of doing your nails and realize you've run out and that your spare bottle is, you know, in the next room over. So I am going to drop that blob, and then like I said, it's a little harder for you guys, you won't be able to see this, I'm going to work it from underneath. Really, this is a bigger nail. I need a little bit more. And this might actually take me 2 or 3 layers to build it up, because you can't, you know, build up a giant blob in one shot. That just doesn't work. So I'm really looking at it. I like the way that this looks. I'm going to go ahead and cure this real quick. I'm going to have to do a couple rounds, just real lightly building up to make that nice apex across the nail at that stress point. So getting there, 15 seconds on. I'm just going to give this a full 30-second nuke, make sure it sets up nicely. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm trying to do is this part of the nail, I'm trying to build it up and out and create some structure there. A little bit more here, it's not as obvious to see, but this one, like I said, I can still see where I've, you know, I had dug out that spot that had cracked. So this is, you know, going to take me a little bit of time to build this structure, but it's going to be okay. I'm going to drop that on there and then flip my nail under or over, upside down, and work that. Working it upside down. You guys aren't going to see a whole lot like I am, but come on over here. I can pick up a little dab, kind of add it in there. It's a nice thing, like I said, is that you can manipulate it with just gravity, and then of course I can kind of move it around with my, there we go, with my nail gel brush. I'm kind of getting, oh, that looks pretty good. I like that. Okay, I am going to, I like the way this looks. I am going to go ahead, just kind of scooting it over, seeing where it's going to follow. All right. I think I'm going to move it around a little bit more with the brush. Isn't that funny? See, I was happy with it and then I wasn't. And I can just keep kind of moving it because it's not curing. We're not near the UV light. There we go. Okay, I'm going to cure this. So my nail lamp is considerably distanced this direction to keep it away from my gel product. I don't want my open bottle of gel to be exposed to the UV light, so real quick careful about that. So my nail lamp is just at the end of my reach. Okay, 6 seconds to go. Okay, so Now that I've got the structure shape across, I'm actually going to go ahead and put a little bit more on here because it's quite thin yet. Actually might do the same for this one, but we'll see. I can do that in a minute. I'm going to put another full layer. Now that I've kind of got my shape the way I want it across the top of the nail, now I am just making sure I've got enough thickness to make me happy, and I'm really paying attention to the spot here where I have to make sure I filled in, where I took the nail drill and drilled out what had been damaged and cracked. So this looks good. I'm going to cure it. I think I'm just going to cure it for 10 seconds. I think I'm going to go ahead and put one more thin layer on my index finger, and they can cure together. So I flash cured this for 10 seconds. It won't move. I'm going to go do another thin layer on my index finger. I've decided I want it a little bit thicker, so I can kind of see, get a little quicker now. Got enough on there. I am pushing my nail to face downward, use gravity, because I don't want to, you know, get this stuff on my hands and my skin and my cuticles. Okay, so I'm going to cure these two real quick. 30 seconds under the lamp. Keeping my brush is feeling dirty. I'm going to wipe that off. I can see the gel that accumulates on here, but it's getting my brush cleaner, which feels better. I don't like it when it starts to run all over. Guess I'm a little weird like that. So 6 seconds in the lamp to go. All right, so those are done. So these three are done pretty nicely. 2 to go. I'm gonna flip this over because there was gel all over that. I'm afraid I'm gonna get it on my arm. So onto this one. I didn't have any real cracks or anything I was worried about on that one, so the fill should go fairly well. It's going to be the same thing. Thin layers, being careful to not get product into the cuticle. I kind of use that brush to push it a little bit and manipulate it. Excuse me. Kind of, there we go. Gently get it. And this is why you do a thin layer, because I don't want this running so much product on my nail that it's running into my skin. So such a thin layer to start. And it's so important not to get it on your skin. So just checking now to see if I have anything on my cuticles. I don't think I do, but it's a little harder for me to get these last 2 nails, so I always check. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cure that. Flash cure it, 10 seconds. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put some rubbing alcohol on here, and I'm going to take the inhibition layer off, at least my thumb, because I have a tendency to start banging my thumb into things when I get to those last 2 fingers. I'm just going ahead and doing my 30-second nuke here. So I'm going to take that inhibition layer off of here so that I don't get anything stuck to it. So it just takes rubbing alcohol. You just make sure you get everywhere, and now that's all set up. Not sure if I'll do those 2 yet. I might end up adding one very thin layer in addition onto my index finger. So again, you can see the bubble that I have is still on the top of the brush, and because I did that, I'm a little concerned I got too much on there, so I haven't flipped it. There, I'll kind of get rid of that. So I have to just make sure, using gravity to make sure I'm not getting too much up near my cuticles. And again, trying so hard to keep the brush parallel. I don't want to come in like this. You introduce air bubbles. So you just kind of, there we go. So I'm going to cure that, and then I have to work on the shape and the structure across the point of the nail where you get the stress fractures that happen. So that's where I flip my fingernails upside down and kind of have to, this is where the artistry and just being patient and not putting too much product on will help. So 5 more seconds. Getting a bit of a bubble of product onto my brush here. And I'm going to just go ahead and work that onto the nail. So I don't want my nail bed to be like super flat. You have to give yourself some structure and like an apex across there. And it actually is not as easy as it sounds. It's not horribly hard, but like I said, the product follows gravity very quickly. And so this is where, you know, you have to look at it from a couple of different ways and be, okay, I'm happy, I'm nuking it right now. You got to be willing to kind of quickly shove it in the lamp and cure it. So I'm going to just, it's 10 seconds. I'm just making sure that it's looking good, and I'm looking to see if I'm kind of missing anything. Cure that a little longer, give it its full 30, so another 20 seconds. And I still have to work a little bit more on that apex, that stress point. So this is where you need to make sure you take your time, because if you get the proper structure there, you really shouldn't have too much trouble with a stress fracture across the nail, you know, unless of course, I mean, obviously if you really smash your nails, you're pretty much in trouble, but you know, if you've got some structure built up on that stress point, you should, especially this product is wonderful. It's so strong. And like I said, I've been able to kind of work around the farm and not have ugly nails. I've been able to keep my feminine nails, so it's kind of fun. Just working on creating that apex and structure without getting too much product. I have to look and make sure it's not glomming on one side too much. You know, it needs to be even across the nail, so that's a little challenging sometimes. I like the way this looks. I'm going to go ahead and cure it. Hi guys, welcome back. Of course, my phone kind of cut out in the last video. So I did finish doing my fill on my left hand, and you know, I went back, I worked on kind of the stress points, making the apex where I wanted them. But I kind of messed up the shape, and I need to do some cleanup, so I thought I'd bring you guys back. I've got my nail drill here, and I thought I would work on, like I said, cleaning up all that. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the cuticle areas first. Okay guys, I'm back. I've cleaned up my workspace. I am ready to do the polishing, and I've got my glove back on, my lamp ready to go. I've got my rubbing alcohol. I've got my little cleanup stick. I don't think I'm going to need this. Put that away. So what I'm going to use today is I'm going to use some Model 1's products. So I've got the Model 1's nail primer here. This is their base coat. There's the top coat. And then I really like, this is the product that's on this hand, the polish. I really like it. It's quite pretty. It's a really pretty sparkly glittery pink. So if you guys can see that, ooh, take a look at that. It's pretty nice. And then I think just for a little something different, I have this little bottle of silver mirror polish. I kind of thought that might be fun to put underneath the pink glitter. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do it on all my nails, or, you know, because I'm not sure how much difference it's going to make, or if maybe I'll just put it on my ring finger. So I'm going to start off with this on my ring finger. Okay, so this is Model 1's. It's their acid-free nail primer, and I'm going to go ahead, because I'm going to start with my ring finger, because I want to at least put that mirror polish on my ring finger. And I'm going to go ahead and apply this right onto my nail. I really like this. It's acid-free, which is important. So you don't cure that in the lamp, the primer. So I'm just going to give it a chance to kind of air. So this is just a cheap mirror, I believe, gel polish I got off Wish. So it's, you know, nothing terribly exciting, but it's fun. It's one of the mirror ones. I found it's kind of fun underneath polishes to kind of give it a little bit more of a, you know, pickup. So as you can see, very definitely a mirror. So just making sure I'm getting the edges. These mirror gels are so much fun though. Kudos to those. So there's where that damage was, where I had that split. Okay, I'm gonna let that kind of sit, air for a minute. I don't know if this is an actual UV gel, but I'm gonna blow on it for a couple seconds. And then it actually looks like it dries pretty quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the lamp. If it is an LV or, you know, UV, it doesn't say. It just says mirror nail polish, and I could have sworn I generally don't buy these if they're not UV gel. But so I'm gonna throw it in the lamp, you know, give it a chance. My nail lamp is just out of shot here to my left. I have kind of a tight workspace here, so it's kind of at the end of my reach. But okay, I give that like 15 seconds. 20 seconds, you know, it's tacky dry. So over that, I'm going to put the base. You guys are probably like, what? But I'm going to try it. A little something different. I don't want too much of that mirror polish going to go through, so I'm just, you know, kind of being creative and weird, I guess. So go ahead and put that. Don't need a lot. I really like the brushes on the Model 1's products. Really great brushes. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get too much product on there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. That is UV. I'm going to go ahead and cure that for 20 to 30 seconds. Make sure I close that in case I knock it over. And then again, I have this polish. This is a little tester button you're supposed to put probably here or there, but I stuck it right there. Pretty cool. I like this color. I got a lot of compliments on it, so I'm going to use it again. All right, that's pretty good. Give it a little shake. Again, there's that product color. It's pretty sparkly and pretty. So, I want to see how this looks over my mirror layer. I kind of like it. It's pretty. Again, I have trouble with getting this side of my nail. Such a pretty color. Okay, I like glitter. I'll just admit it. Girl doesn't like a little sparkle and glitter, right? Match the beautiful rings, and I'm trying to make sure I'm getting the tip here and the edges. So I've definitely noticed it takes a couple of layers of this to really set in the color, but I do like it with the mirror underneath that. I'm gonna go ahead and cure that. The Model 1s does a very nice job of curing in the lamp, but you don't need a lot of time under the lamp. I have a quite powerful lamp, so 20 seconds is pretty good. I do like that. We're going to go ahead and do another layer over. Get some more of the color in there. It's kind of the same concept from when I did the fill, as I kind of use the brush to push the color up towards my cuticle, because you don't want to glob it near your cuticle. Yikes, getting a lot on there. So I can kind of feather it in with the brush. This is so pretty. I kind of like that extra silver tone underneath there. It's kind of fun, but I'm not sure I want it on all my nails. I'm trying to get the glitter to kind of... That's the thing with glitter polishes, is you can get globs of glitter in places where you kind of got to break it up. I really like this though. It's very tiny little glitters, so they're real pretty. You do have Model 1's polish that has a much bigger sized glitter in them, which are a lot of fun in the holidays. That's nice. Okay, so I'm just kind of making sure my edges are colored. Go ahead and cure that. So I think I'm going to leave this one just on the ring finger. So I'm going to go ahead and do my pinky. We'll put the primer on, we'll put the base coat on, and we'll get on some color. Okay, so taking the acid-free primer to my pinky, and again, this is such a tiny nail, it's just, I have a hard time with it. This brush is a little smaller, though it works real well. So again, with the acid-free primer, you do not cure it in the lamp. So I'm just kind of going to let it air dry briefly while I shake up my base and open my base gel. I'm getting a little bit, you know, a little bit goes a long way with the base gel. So sure I got the edges. So this base gel, whoops, see, totally dumped it over. You do cure, so I'm going to cure that. Okay, good 20 seconds. I'm just going to pull that tight. So I'm going to go ahead and start in on my color. Make sure I don't get too much polish on there. So this is going to look different because this is not going to have that silver mirror layer under it. So it's going to look different. And that's why I haven't put the top coat on that ring finger yet, because I may have to put a little more of this polish on there to make it look different, you know, a little better. It's quite silvery. I'm gonna go ahead and cure that. I give it about 15 to 20 seconds. Model 1's does very well. Like I said, it does set up quite nicely in the UV. I do have a powerful lamp, so I don't need necessarily 30 seconds with this stuff right off the bat, as long as I'm doing a thin layer. And getting there. Do another layer on the pinky. Make sure I don't pick up too much color and polish. This is such a pretty color. I think this is 3 layers that I had on before to bring that color out. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Make sure I'm getting the edges. I do struggle with the pinky finger getting my edges, and I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get my giant head in the shot here, but make sure I'm getting my edges, and then of course I check the front too. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna nuke it. Five seconds, guys. All right, very, very pretty color. Look at that. I'm liking it. So, trying to decide how much more I want to put on here. I really like that, but I do feel like I need to put one more layer on to really strengthen that color. It's kind of translucent, so you know, I just want to make sure. That's so pretty. Better already. More solid color. So the question is, do I want to put another layer on here to kind of tone down that silver? I think I'm going to go ahead and try it. That's how we learn, right? We experiment. That's why I only did the one finger with the mirror. Oh, is that pretty? Kind of trying to hide the silver, but also kind of wanting that silver to come through. So it's interesting how this sides don't really want to be covered. So this is where I have my little spatula. Making sure everything. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cure those 2 fingers. Because that is the 3rd layer, I am gonna go ahead and give them a full 30 seconds in the lamp just to make sure I'm totally cured. Should be fine, but I spread my fingers out in the lamp so that the edges get a good exposure to the LED UV light. All right, 30 seconds. That's pretty, really pretty color. So I'm going to go ahead and do these off camera, guys. We'll be right back, and I'll show you what it looks like before we put on the top coat. Hi guys. Okay, I am just finishing up the cure on my 3rd coat of nail polish on my 3 remaining fingers, and I am ready, I believe, for top coat. So that's how it looks. So remember that my ring finger, we put this mirror polish underneath it just as an experiment, and then so everybody's got 3 coats of this Model 1's gel polish. The only thing I have left to do now is the base, or the top coat. So I think I'm real pleased with how it looks right now. Definitely has a little different look to it. So I really like this though. I really like this color. It's quite pretty. I'm not sure if I would do that again. I think it's quite pretty without. So I'm gonna go ahead and do top coat on these nails, and they are done for a couple weeks. So I have to be careful. I don't want it to an overly huge amount of top coat on my nail. Just a nice thin layer. Kind of seals in. I always kind of make sure the edges are done. I'm going to do this one. I do a couple nails in one time, and then I'll cure it so I don't make a mess of them, bump them. probably do the first 3 and then the last 2 because as I've mentioned on other videos, I have a hard time with those last 2 nails. I struggle with them. This is my non-dominant hand, and those are like the most difficult nails. Okay, I'm going to cure these. My ring finger and my pinky finger, I have the hardest time with. The pinky finger for sure, I think, because of how small that fingernail is. And I think it's just awkward for me. If you think it's awkward using my dominant hand to polish them, wait until I switch over and try to polish my dominant hand with my non-dominant hand. It's pretty bad. So, just getting a nice coat. Make sure I'm getting the edges. Okay, last finger. The idea is the same as when I'm doing the fill. I'm trying not to come in like this. I'm trying to stay more parallel to the nail so as get a good application with no bubbling. I think I've got the edges real nice. So I'm going to go ahead and final cure the hand. Do a full 30 seconds to make sure everything is set up really well, and then you know, they say Model 1 says you don't, it's like a no wipe top coat. I always do kind of a final swipe with a little bit of rubbing alcohol to just, if there's any sticky residue, I go ahead and just do that. Okay, I've got 60 or 30 seconds on that. I still feel like it's sticky. It just feels sticky to me, so I just do it. It's just a habit I have. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just a habit that I have. I really like this color. It's so pretty. You know, it's late winter, kind of we're heading out of winter, heading a little bit closer to spring, a little bit closer to eventually getting some green grass. So I feel like it's a nice pretty color. So there you go. Maybe I should take this off and show you guys. So this finger here has the little bit of silver tone under it, but it's such a pretty color. Trying to pick up the light. Some nice sparkle. Beautiful. So this one's worn. You can see I've kind of worn off the top coat on these. They're kind of looking raggedy. So I need to do this one yet, but this should last me 2 to 3 weeks. Probably no more than 3 because my nails grow really fast and then I get kind of annoyed when they grow out. I don't like to let them grow out too far. So I believe I did this for about 2 to 2.5 weeks ago. So it's kind of getting all that sticky off. So pretty. But thank you guys again. This is the color I used from Model 1s, and I did use their base coat, their top coat, and their acid-free primers. So really nice products that I used. On the one fingernail I did add in a mirror. It's called Green Fingers. I got it on Wish. It's, you know, whatever. But these come from Amazon. I will link them below. Really nice products. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you liked this, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.